look in the mirror, man, you're so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you.
Welcome to the Jeremy Hill Show. If you're easily triggered, leave now, because this is not the show for you. And what I'm going to be discussing with you today, ladies and gentlemen, as a topic is the need for women to submit. In my most humble opinion, women must kneel. Modern women, black women in particular, must kneel in submission to the authority of the man. And I know that's going to rub some of you the wrong way. But what I'm going to do is play some clips that you're going to have women on these clips who are agreeing with me. And I'm going to point out some of their flaws and faults about the way they think. And I'm going to start off first with this religious woman. Why am I starting off with her? This is for all you women who are claiming to be Proverbs 31 women, blessed and highly favored and stuff like that. Now, you have these type of women who can't get no man because no man can get along with them. They'll say things like, Jesus is my husband. I love Jesus. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But I want you to understand what that really means. When a woman says, Jesus is my husband, she's saying that there's no one else on this planet that is good for me unless that person is perfect, because Jesus is perfect. So the measuring stick for a man to come into her life must be a man who is perfect. Okay? Now, we're going to really get into this. We're going to dive into this today. It's going to be really interesting. Now, let's go ahead and get started. Give me a second as I pull it up on the screen for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it.
I want to talk about submission for a second, because that is something that I struggled with for a very long time. Like, as soon as I got saved, I felt like I already understood the roles of a woman and the roles of a man. And I understood submission in a relationship. And I immediately had words for the pastor. I was like, listen, I consider myself to be somebody who's quite successful and quite ambitious. So for me to submit to a man, it's just not in my nature. Like, I've always...
For you women who claim to be Proverbs 31 women, who say that you are saved, that you are blessed and highly favored, for you to say that submission is not a part of your nature, then you are denying the God that you claim that you serve, because God made you with the nature to submit. And that's why he called you a helpmeet. In order for you to be a helper or a helpmeet, you must have an attitude of submission to a higher authority. And not only is that higher authority that of God's, but also the authority that he delegated among the earth for you to submit to, which would be the authority of the man. So whenever you say some shit like that, you are really a hypocrite. You're supposed to submit to a man. Let's keep going.
So for me to submit to a man, it's just not in my nature. Like, I was raised by a single woman. I've always really had to fend for myself. So for me to submit to a man, like, I personally got a problem with it. And I was like really trying to gain insight on like why women were obligated to submit. And why would I be obligated to submit to a man that does not meet my standards? And I told my pastor straight up, I was like, if my man is not as ambitious as me, not as intelligent as me, not as wise as me, not as put together as me, not as wealthy as me, not as ambitious, not as creative, not as well-rounded, why would I be obligated to submit to a man that I feel like does not match my energy or does not...
Now, what you just heard is a crazy list that most women have. A list of very unrealistic expectations here. All the stuff she just mentioned, she believes about herself, and I can look and tell that some of that shit ain't true. She can't be the wisest person, got tattoos all over her, just excessive tattoos, with no telling what else going on with this woman. But she's in love with herself. When a woman say things like this is a very selfish woman. She wants you to do everything she wants you to do. She wants you to be her. She wants to date herself. You get what I'm saying? That's the problem. Your list is what keeping you women single out here. All the stuff she said. Now, you can tell this woman is not wealthy. She said, as wealthy as I am. This woman is not wealthy, man. Come on, bro.
As well-rounded, why would I be obligated to submit to a man that I feel like does not match my energy or does not bring everything that I bring to the table? Because at the end of the day, I understand that everybody is developing. Everybody is on their own journey. Everyone's trying to figure life out. I get it. However, why do I have to sit? So I really struggled with it, and I was like, what's the tea, Pastor? Like, why are we obligated to do this? He told me two things that I thought were pretty intriguing, and that helped me kind of change the way that I viewed submission. The first thing is, he said, God already knows your wants, your needs, your desire for your husband. And he said, God is not going to give you somebody who you will not want to submit to. He was like, whoever God has for you, if you end up trusting in the will of God and you end up pursuing a relationship with somebody that God has for you, not somebody that you picked out yourself, but somebody that God has for you, he said, God gonna take care of you. He's gonna give you a man that you would have no problem submitting to. So immediately I was like, you know what? Then I wouldn't consider it. And I'm like, okay, really and truly, if God really did give me a man that I feel like upholded the standards of a husband.
Okay, now I want you to pay close attention to what she just said. She said, okay, if God really sent me a man that I feel upheld. So still, this is a woman. I'm going to get to that. I just want you to notice that right quick. I want you to hear that she said, I feel. And then I want you to see what it is that she feels. And then I'm going to go ahead and add what I'm about to say.
You know what? Then I wouldn't consider it. And I'm like, okay, really and truly, if God really did give me a man that I feel like upholded the standards of a husband and really was just as ambitious and creative and wealthy and intelligent and wise that I find myself to be, then perhaps I could see myself submitted, like perhaps.
Now, what I want you to get from that is this right here. She said if God was to send her a man that is as ambitious, as wise, as wealthy, among other things, then she could see herself submitting to that man. So in other words, this woman is also putting unrealistic expectations and standards on God. Did you catch this? Now I'm going to back it up so you can hear it again. Now, first, she started off saying that a man has to be wealthy, yada, 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 etc., for her to even want to submit to a man, to even want to kneel in submission to the authority of a man. That's what she said in the beginning of this clip. Now, at the end of this clip, she's telling you straight up, the only way that she will submit to a man is if God made a man a certain way that she demanded, then she would submit to him. I'm going to back it up. See, women are subtle. You got to listen. The devil is subtle. He's real slick, very cunning. You won't see him attacking you. It's just it's deception. He's going to make it look like it's beautiful and roses. She's going to speak to you like, real sweet and stuff, but if you listen to the damn words, she's saying that, God, you also have to do what I want you to do. If you're going to send me a man, he got to be like X, Y, and Z. If you do not do that, then I'm not going to submit to him, God. That's what it comes across to me, because she still have these demands. Let me back it up a little bit. I want you to hear again. 1 second. I'm trying to get it back. There it is.
And I'm like, okay, really and truly, if God really did give me a man that I feel like upholded the standards of a husband and really was just as ambitious and creative and wealthy and intelligent and wise that I find myself to be, then perhaps I could see myself submitted.
There you go. There you go. I wanted y'all to get that. They even put requirements on the creator. On the creator. And I'm not reaching. I'm not anything. You heard it yourself. That is insanity to me. But here's another one. I'll put some more up here. Now, this lady got a little bit of sense I'm going to play right now. But I want you to have that as a takeaway, especially you women who are so-called religious. Proverbs 31 women who always are single, who cannot seem to get a man, but you say you go to church every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Monday and stuff. You're doing what you're supposed to do for God, but yet you can't keep a man. Look, it's good to serve God. He wants you to serve God. I'm all for that, right? But at the same time, you cannot excuse that for your own personal behaviors, your personal behaviors that run the men off. You're refusing to submit to a man who is trying to follow God, as you say, right? When you do that, that's a sin. When you disobey that, that's a sin. If you got a man who trying to live for God, and then you say you're a Christian, but then you still trying to control him and lead him, don't let him be the head of household and stuff, and don't follow him as he followed Christ, then you're a hypocrite. That's the first clip. Now let's go into the other stuff.
Ladies, real quick, y'all want to know something? You not being feminine or you not being able to submit has nothing to do with the man. I know, it's crazy, right? Y'all love doing this thing where y'all are like, if he's not masculine enough, he's not dominant enough, then I don't feel comfortable with being in my feminine energy. But here's the thing, if you are a feminine, submissive type of woman, it comes naturally. You're not sitting back waiting for a man to activate your feminine energy. Just think about it. Imagine the situation in reverse. Imagine a man walking around in feminine energy and his excuse was, I'm waiting on the right woman to activate my masculine energy. That shit would never, ever, ever fly with y'all. Ever.
Exactly. A man cannot activate a woman's femininity no more than a woman can activate a man's masculinity. See, I don't call women alpha women. They took that because men say alpha men, and these type of women always love to take and mimic and mock the things that men create. We say alpha men, now they want to say alpha women. We want to be passport bros, now they want to be passport sis. You get what I'm saying? Now, let me tell you something. There's no such thing as an alpha woman, all right? I call them masculinity adopters. They adopt traits of, they are masculinity adopters. They adopt certain traits of masculinity, but yet it does not make them masculine. They just perform in a masculine way. For example, a woman can have a job in a supervisory position which will cause her to act like a masculine person because of the authority that's been delegated to her. She may come across as masculine because that's a leadership type of position, right? But it does not make her an alpha female. It does not make her a masculine person. It's just that she is adopting the traits of masculinity. Now, let me tell you this. For a woman, for each masculine trait that you adopt, you lose a feminine trait that you have, that you possess. If you find yourself trying to lead men and be brusque and aggressive and run over men, you taking on these type of masculine traits, then you have lost the feminine trait of being meek, humble, quiet, not offensive, gentle, and sweet. And when you find these type of women, it's hard for them to turn it off. Most women who get careers, they cannot turn it off. They can try to. They can tell you lies like, when I come home, I leave all the work behind. You may be leaving the workload behind. You may be leaving the tasks and things that you must delegate to your subordinates behind, but you're not leaving your personality behind. You're not leaving that masculine energy behind. All that is still with you. You haven't set that down at the door. Women who take on these masculine traits 9 times out of 10 cannot change. It is difficult for them to change. They have to reprogram their way of thinking. And the problem is, when a woman owns the masculine traits of a man, it can be very rewarding for a woman. Meaning, if a woman, I got it all on my own, I did this stuff myself, I run this company and stuff, there's rewards that come with that. They have nice homes, nice houses, nice cars. They might get respect from their peers. So it's very rewarding for them to do masculine things. So it's harder for them to let go of masculine traits because of the rewards. Gentlemen understand that, because when a man goes out and we go out there and we're productive and we create things and we make things happen, we get the respect of our peers, we become accomplished, we find that ourselves to be extremely rewarding. So what it is, they get addicted to the highs that comes with being a masculine person. So it's hard for them to switch it on. But the reason for that is because they have not sat in their feminine energy long enough to understand that being feminine is also rewarding. There are great rewards to being a feminine woman. Great, you get honored, you get respect from your peers. Even in the Bible, it speaks about honorable women, good women who are feminine. There's a lot of things that come along that would be considered as blessings and rewards if you would sit in your feminine energy long enough, you can receive them. But when you get out of your feminine energy and cross into the area of masculinity, then it's hard for you to put that division there, to know which is which. This is why when you deal with a man, you still have and possess all that masculine, toxic energy. When a woman has masculinity, it's toxic. You want to talk about toxic masculinity? That's toxic masculinity. Whenever a woman adopts a masculinity adopter, whenever she adopts the traits of masculinity, her masculinity is always toxic. This is why she is so domineering in the household. This is why you can't get a word in on the conversation. She cuts you off all the time because she wants to dominate the conversation. She wants to dominate the household. Her opinion must be the law because she has taken on forms of masculinity, which is toxic. A woman is not supposed to be masculine. That is toxic masculinity. A man is never toxic when it comes to using masculinity. A man is simply a person who makes good decisions or bad decisions while he uses his masculinity. He may have bad judgment and think this or that is what he should do as a masculine man, but it is never toxic. Masculinity was never designed to be toxic. You get what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
Ever. And y'all love saying he's not masculine enough to make me feminine. But the truth is, he is in tune with his masculinity and he practices healthy masculinity. You're just always challenging him, always giving him a ton of pushback. Y'all love saying he's not masculine enough. He's not masculine enough. No, he is. You just need to chill the fuck out. If he's letting you know how he feels about something, don't always have a rebuttal. He's trying to effectively run y'all's household. Stop always getting in the way of that just because you want to be in control. Now, that doesn't mean you can't speak up at all. You can definitely come to him with your ideas and your opinions, because with him being an effective leader, he will take that into consideration. Some of y'all just completely step on and challenge a man's masculinity and then blame.
Exactly. If you have something that you want to say about what a man is doing in a relationship, you bring that to a man, but there's a way that you bring it to a man. You bring it with respect. No matter whatever you think or feel, you must always bring your opinions and your ideals towards a man with respect. You cannot come in and say, like, I think your ideal is stupid. I think your ideal is bad. I don't like your ideal. You cannot bring masculine energy or a disrespectful attitude to a man and expect for him to take you seriously. If a real man will listen to the help meet, he will consider what the help meet says. But if you talk to us the wrong way, you shut us down. We don't want to hear what you got to say. We're not going to be looking for a problem to fix the problem of what you're saying because of how you presented it to us. Stop challenging the men in your life that you say that you love.
I'll just completely step on and challenge a man's masculinity and then blame it on him for not being masculine enough. Because when you're dealing with a man who is in tune with his healthy masculinity, yes, he's going to want to show that, but at the same time, he doesn't want to push it too far to where he's disrespecting you. He is trying to lead the household and you continue to challenge him. If he gets disrespectful and tells you to sit your ass down and be quiet, let me handle it, all of a sudden you want to cry and you feel disrespected. It's not
I went through that before my damn self. Look, if I tell you that I got it. I mean, shut the fuck up. If someone tell you, hey, I gotta, I'm working on something, and she come in, for example, and say, look, hey, do it this way, do it that way, or do it now. No, you shouldn't do this right here. Hey, I got this. Don't worry about it. I'm in my own world right now, my own zone, working on what I'm working on my own personal project, right? If a woman come in, and don't get me wrong, a woman can come in and have suggestions. Like I say, it's all about the delivery. If you want to suggest I do something a different way, cool. But if you're pushy, if you're domineering, if you're raising your voice, if you're putting pressure on me to do something else, then we're going to bump heads because you're not a man. When you are pushing a man to do something, when you are domineering and when you are trying to pressure a man when you're trying to pressure a man into doing something or pressure him into not doing something, those are masculine traits. That is why you're going to get pushback from a man, because a man does not do that to other men like that, because we know there's consequences to that. We'll tell another man, don't do it that way. Do it like this, man. Do it right now. Do it like that. That man gonna turn around and say, man, who the fuck is you? You ain't my daddy, man. Come on, I got this, bro. Don't worry about it. Stay in your lane. That's how men talk to each other. So when women come to us with that same attitude, do it this way, do it that way, like that, we're gonna bump heads with you. We're gonna tell you, stay in your lane. We might say it nice, like, hey, I got this. Sometimes you'll find yourself having to explain to a woman, look, when I say that I got this or don't worry about it, and you see me doing it, that means I'm in control of what it is I got, okay? And they'll get upset with that because they're not used to a real man. Weak men let women run over them. Weak men are afraid of losing a woman because he stands up for himself. Weak men, beta male simps, they're afraid to let their balls hang because they view the woman as the ultimate prize and not understand that he is the catch, that he is the prize. Look, get your big boy balls on and lead, all right? If a woman cannot get on your program or cooperate with you, let her go. You know how many beautiful women there are in the world? Her coochie ain't the only one that's existing, man. You get what I'm saying? Stop. See, when women are very domineering like that, they are very uncooperative. You always gonna have a problem with a woman like that. Ladies, you need to know when to shut the hell up. I don't think we talk about that enough. Knowing when a woman should shut the hell up. There's times, lady, even, in the scriptures, it said there's a time, I think, a time for this, a time for that. There's a time for you to talk and a time for you to shut up, girl. It is. Understand your position. I know your mama probably didn't raise you right, didn't teach you how to be a submissive woman, but there is a position, and this is what you hate. You hate when someone brings order and structure. When a man tells you these things that I'm telling you, you want to label me as misogynistic. I'm going to tell you something. You need my voice in the manosphere because I'm not going to pander to you. I'm going to tell you exactly what men want. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with you women. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with men. Okay? I give it to you straight with no chaser. You're going to have to listen. If you don't like what I say, then you go someplace else with this shit. But if you listen to what I'm saying, you will have a better relationship. because I'm teaching you your own nature, and I'm teaching you about the nature of men. And men do not want to be a subordinate or subservient to a woman. That is not ever our position. Only time men are subservient to anyone is if it's another man in authority, like say the president and you're the vice president. But still, you get what I'm saying? That's what we are. Women were never put here to be above us. We are part of the hierarchy. We are on top of the food chain, like it or not. And for you women who are Proverbs 31, you came from the rib of a man. Men was here before you was ever got here. And then God himself absolutely said that you was made to be a servant or a subordinate, a helper, a helpmeet, a assistant to a man. And he also said that a man is to be the provider of the household, that he's supposed to take on. So why are you stepping over scriptures that you don't like and try to make scriptures and manipulate scriptures and try to use those scriptures to justify a lifestyle that you want or that you're living? This is why we're not getting along, because you're hypocrites. Let's keep going.
An issue of him not being masculine enough. You just don't know how to be feminine, so you guys are clashing. That doesn't change the fact that that's not his fault. Now, if you're just a naturally aggressive woman, that's perfectly fine. I mean, there's somebody for everybody. There's a man out there who don't mind it. Stop trying to make it seem like you're an aggressive woman until you find the right man to make you feminine. No, boo, you're just an aggressive woman, period.
There's no such thing as a man who like an aggressive woman. Now, if it comes to the bedroom and you like aggressive type of sex and stuff, that's different. Now, there may be men like that. Okay, I get that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about men who absolutely want a woman to lead him, guide him, correct him, dress him, put like Pookies and stuff. Your woman buying all your damn Nikes and your Jordans because you're too lazy to get off your ass and go get a job. Stuff like that, man. You're living with your woman. No man should be moving in with a woman. Women should be moving in with men, period. Because what you find, you weak men, I ain't gonna say all, because it depends on your circumstance. For one, sometimes circumstantial things happen to where a man may have to move in with a woman, but that's very rare. I'm talking about men who have the able body to go to work and get their own things together, but they are too lazy to do so they go live off a woman like that's his new mama. That's not respected either. In a circle of real men, we don't respect that. No real man respects another man who refuses to be a man and get out and get it himself. I never met no one like that. That say, hey man, you see that dude over there? He lazy as fuck, man. I respect the hell out that dude. I've never seen no one like that. I have seen men say, look, that youngster right there, he got his head on straight. He gonna be something. I seen that.
He's even adopted my two twins as his own kids after their father has passed away. But I still find it really hard to be 100% submissive to him.
Oh.
She's the problem. I just figured it out. Next question.
So she got a man that adopted her children from a previous relationship. Now keep in mind, see, we got to break things down. When you take on another man's child, you're feeding that child, you're buying clothes for that child, you're probably paying for sporting events for that child to attend. You're probably a part of the maybe involved in his schooling and stuff like that. You whipping the child. In other words, you're disciplining the child. You're doing things with the child, teaching the child stuff like that. And not only one child, but two children. And this woman got a man who's willing to go through all that, but yet she cannot submit to him. That's what I'm trying to tell you. A lot of women do not want to be submissive. Submission is intentional. You have to intentionally want to submit to a man, just like a man has to intentionally want to lead the household. But in order for you to do that, you have to be in touch with your true nature, your true feminine nature or your true masculine nature. If you are not in touch with those things, you are not going to be able to do it. So what you have here is a bald-headed heifer right here, another musket-back heifer who do not appreciate the man that she has. She understands that it's a good thing, but she wants it to have rules and regulations. This is one of those type of women that I told you about earlier in this video, who must be domineering, who must be controlling, who must run the household, who is in fact in touch with her masculine traits, the masculinity adopter that I was speaking about before.
Oh.
She's the problem. I just figured it out. Next question.
I guess because of my previous relationships and the letdowns that I've had, that next 15, it's hard for me.
You have to be very intentional about it moving forward. So in those moments where you feel like you're not able to give submissive energy, or you're not able to be submissive in a situation, ask yourself why.
Because
ask yourself what's triggering you.
A lot of my previous relationships, the
but
guys
you're not
have been
there anymore. So why are you holding him accountable?
Because the other guys
actions?
have allowed me to be the dominant one. I've always been the dominant one. So.
Bingo. Like I said, dominance. The one who, all right, like she said, she want to deflect and blame other men, past relationships that she failed in, the ones that she chose to be in that failed. But then she wants to say the main thing is all these other men allowed me to be dominant in these relationships. So when you got women like that, they want to dominate everything. These are the women who will always be single. These are the women who will always have short-term relationships. They're always going to be a problem. They're going to always end up being alone. They're going to have relationships, but they will end up being alone ultimately because they don't know how to be submissive. Women like that, even when you have a good man who's taking care of other men's children, still don't want to give you the respect that submission comes with. Submission is a form of respect to a man. See, this is a woman who wants her cake and eat it too.
Okay, but you're not there anymore, so why are you blaming him for their actions?
I don't blame him for the actions.
But you're putting their actions on him.
Yeah.
So you have to be very intentional. It's hard work. Like, be clear. Intentional. I can say any word. Intentional. That's very easy to say.
Yeah.
But it's work.
It's not work. It's not hard work. Now, trying to make a relationship work, that can be hard work because you're going to have trials and tribulations and struggles. But being feminine should never be hard if you are in touch with your femininity. Being a man, gentlemen, is it hard for you to be a man? I'm not talking about the societal pressures and the societal woes that you go through from day to day on your job or just living life. I'm not talking about that. But is it hard for you to be a man? Is it hard for you to have self-respect? Is it hard for you to be, have pride about things you do and things that you have accomplished in your life? Is it hard for you to greet other men with respect? Is it hard for you to want to go hunt, to want to go buy groceries and do basic stuff that men would do who want to protect yourself? Is it hard to demand respect? You see, it's not difficult for you when you are in touch with your masculinity. It says it's not hard. It's not hard because God gave it to you. You have an innate nature of being a masculine individual when you are born as a boy who develops into a full-grown man. Women too. The only thing that can take it away is choice. If you choose to no longer be masculine and decide to be effeminate or try to be feminine, that's by choice. If you are a woman, you are born with the innate nature to be feminine. You may have to be taught certain things, like men have to be taught certain things as they grow up about what masculinity is and what womanhood is. You get what I'm saying? But it's easy for you because you're born with it. Now, the only way that you can't get along with it too well is if you make a decision not to be feminine. If you choose to be masculine and if you choose not to submit, then you will have a hard time being feminine. So now you have to choose to be feminine. And the only way you're going to understand that is to do research, get people like me who is a life coach. I can direct you on that. I do pretty well in that area as well. Seek out a femininity coach. Do stuff like that because a lot of you are just lost. All right. I'll talk to y'all pretty soon. Have a good one.